a lot of people here tonight, people who are sitting near me in the crowd tonight, we're wondering why our priorities seem to be elsewhere. Not that other people don't need help, but very concerned about that.
So we're into almost $300 billion for Ukraine, and yet they're offering people $750
for immediate needs.
For the worst, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But more importantly than that is they don't have the people. They're not doing it. It's a very bad thing.
How would you do it differently?
I'd have a tremendous team of people here. They don't have any people here. The people are all, I was in North Carolina yesterday. I was in Georgia. And Georgia's different. You have a good governor. He's doing a very good job. But North Carolina is a disaster. And it was also hit very hard. But they don't have the people. And they're complaining there's no people around to help. That was a horrific storm, much worse. And, you know, it's late in the season. You wouldn't think a thing like that could happen. But you have to get the people out, and they have to be out much more. I was there for the entire day, and I saw virtually nobody other than the people that were badly affected. And one man, he's got a house that's gone, and he's sitting on a rock. He's sitting on a rock. What's gone on there? You have to help him, and you have to help him monetarily also. And it's only, you know, if you look, it's Virginia, it's Alabama, it's you know, it's South Carolina was hit very hard. I spoke to their great governor there, and they were hit very hard. Florida was hit very hard.
Biden said the response has been robust and well coordinated, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, nobody says that. He doesn't know.
That's what President
Biden doesn't know
said.
what robust is. He doesn't. Look, he should be there, and she should be there. She shouldn't be at fundraisers. She's at fundraisers. And her teleprompter went off, and she didn't do well with the teleprompter off.
That's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, but you will get through it. It happens to me a lot. When the teleprompter goes off, you have to be able to do it. She didn't get through it. But she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be, I would say, North Carolina is bad, is so bad.
Meanwhile,
Israelis and Palestinians can live securely side by side in a lasting peace with equal measures of safety, opportunity, and dignity. Now, moving on to the Hurricane Helene. President Biden and Vice President Harris continue to use every tool available to help communities devastated by Hurricane Helene.
All right, guys, so we have to continue our coverage of the backlash that the Biden-Harris administration is getting for their lackluster response via FEMA to the devastation that has occurred in the southeastern part of the United States. Florida, Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee have all been devastated by Hurricane Helene. And now we have another hurricane, Hurricane Milton, that is in the Gulf of Mexico that is on track to hit Florida, okay? It is currently a Category 5 as of the making of this video. And by all accounts, this hurricane is an absolute monster, okay? This is a hurricane that is probably one of the most powerful storms that we've seen in a long time, with the potential to cause devastation and destruction in the area of Tampa Bay and Fort Myers. That is what most experts believe is where the hurricane is most likely to make landfall first and to cause the most devastation. But that doesn't stop some of the so-called experts from playing politics with this hurricane before it even makes landfall.
Incredible hurricane. It has dropped It has dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. I apologize. This is just horrific. Maximum sustained winds are 160 miles per hour, and it is just gaining strength in the Gulf of Mexico, where you can imagine the winds. I mean, the seas are just so incredibly hot. Record hot, as you might imagine. You know what's driving that. I don't need to tell you. Global warming, climate change, leading to this and becoming an increasing threat for the Yucatan, including Mérida and Progreso and other areas there. Let's see if I can show you the latest. There's the Cat 5 information. Winds 160 miles per hour, moving east-southeast at 9 miles per hour. And On that track, you're going to notice that this system is going to come very, very close to the Yucatan, and the dirty side of this hurricane, folks, is on the right-hand side of its progress. So therefore, they're going to get the dirty side there. These communities, many of them, as you might imagine, many folks, in that area have just the very basics, nothing else but that. So it's going to be very tough. Now let's transition to Florida, because even though it is expected to weaken on approach, it is so incredibly strong right now that you're going to find it very difficult for it to be nothing less than a major hurricane when it makes landfall in Florida.
Yeah, so we'll see what this so-called hurricane specialist has to say next year or the year after next, or whenever there's another hurricane season where there's not that many powerful storms, okay? Every few years or so, there's going to be a hurricane season where you're going to have very powerful storms. This has been happening for all of history, okay? But for whatever reason, some people on the left side of the aisle want to pretend as if we don't have hurricane seasons that aren't very strong. Like, for example, you have years where you don't have very many hurricanes at all, and you don't have any major disasters. But they're never boohoo whining and crying and blaming that on climate change, right? Only when they have major hurricanes or you have a particularly strong hurricane season, that's when they're out here boohoo whining and crying about climate change, right? It's just funny how that works, okay? So speaking of politics and politicizing hurricanes, this is what Democrats love to do. This is their specialty, because they're basically saying out loud, okay, what everybody kind of believes about why is it that Joe Biden and the Democrats seem to be putting the American people last when it comes to helping out hurricane victims and getting them the resources that they need, particularly in these red states.
Here's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes,
These
another
storms. And there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area.
I was going to say, Asheville's
voters there.
Yeah.
But those voters in Asheville are, they're the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale, kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who've had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign. So that's I don't know how that's all going to play out, but it's an unpredictable element in North Carolina that has made it maybe a little more interesting.
Yeah, so you see that, you hear that, the quiet part out loud, okay? In some of these states that have been impacted, these red states, it's going to be a little bit harder to get the Trump voters to go out and to vote, to get them to the polls, because, they're worried about the fact that they lost their home, right? They lost their livelihoods. They have nothing else anymore because they had everything taken away from them because of the hurricane, and they're struggling because apparently the Biden administration has spent all of the disaster money on illegals, right? Which is something that the Biden administration and the mainstream liberal media claims is misinformation, right? It's misinformation to make a claim that was also made by FEMA, which is that, hey, we're running out of money, okay? And we designated some of the disaster money to the illegal immigrants, right? This is a fact, okay? But this is not a fact that the mainstream liberal media or Democrats want to accept, so they get mad about it when people bring it up, okay? And that leads me to this video right here of Karine's Jean-Pierre walking out of this press conference due to Peter Doocy bringing this up, talking about how is it that we have money to send to Lebanon and all of these other foreign countries, which is what Kamala Harris put on social media, that we're sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Lebanon, but yet we only have $20 million for Western North Carolina, right? I think that is something that the American people are pissed off about, right? And apparently, Karine's Jean-Pierre thinks, again, that it is very dangerous to ask her questions like this because it is grounded in misinformation. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
On this issue of funding,
the administration has money to send to Lebanon without Congress coming back. But Congress does have to come back to approve money to send to people in North Carolina. Do I have that right?
Here's what I'm going to be very clear about. The president and the vice president has had a robust whole of government response to this. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I said it at the top, more than $200 million that we have directly put towards survivors here for disaster help. And that's because of this president's commitment to make sure that we are there for communities that are impacted. We take this very seriously again. We take this very seriously. And before the hurricane hit, we pre-positioned more than 1,500 federal folks on the ground to help. And so we have made sure that every state has gotten their storm requested emergency declaration. They requested it, and we made sure they received it. We've taken this very seriously. More than $200 million that we have provided to the impacted areas. But instead, people want to do disinformation, misinformation, which is dangerous. Because then when folks on the ground hear that, they may not want to ask for the help that they need. That is there for them.
Apparently not, because you have a ton of people that are going to social media and claiming that when I go to get my help that Karine Jean-Pierre claims that, they are receiving, they can't get it, right? They're not getting the $750 that they're requesting, okay? So she's claiming that, hey, well, bringing up the fact that FEMA has run out of money and that they don't have any more money to help out, despite the fact that we have another major hurricane that is about to hit Florida. Bringing that up, again, is a dangerous thing because certain people on the ground may not ask for money, okay? When you actually have people on the ground asking for the money and they're not getting it, right? They're being denied the funds. Again, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. When the narrative is not in the Democrats' favor, in order to shut it down, what they do is they say that, well, it's dangerous for you to ask questions, right? It's dangerous for you to question Democrats, right? To push back against the narrative that they want out there, which is that they're doing an amazing job, right? And that everything is working all fine and well, okay? Don't ask questions.
That's our focus here.
But President Biden is fond of saying, show me your budget and I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now, without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you do? Yes, it's misinformation.
Is there money to send to Lebanon right now?
I just mentioned to you that we provided more than $200 million to folks who are impacted in the area, and I just shared with you that people are deciding not to. People are deciding not to.
Letter to Congress that there's not enough money to help people in North
Carolina. We're talking about the SBA disaster loan.
That's money for people in North Carolina,
and that's important. And people in North Carolina need that. Wait, this is nothing new. Peter, this is nothing new. Congress comes together, they provide money, millions of dollars, for disaster relief. We're asking them to do the job that they have been doing for some time.
From a letter that President Biden sent to Johnson, McConnell, Schumer, and Jeffries. The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation. There is money that we are allocating to the impacted areas, and there's money there to help people who truly need it. There are survivors who need the funding, and it's there.
That you don't like misinformation.
I actually said we have the money available to help survivors of Hurricane Helene and also Hurricane Milton. Now there's going to be a shortfall, right? Because we don't know how bad Hurricane Milton is going to be. And so
how do you know that you have the money for both, right? If you just said that, hey, there's going to be a shortfall because we don't know how bad Hurricane Milton is going to be, then how can you say that you have the money for Helene and Milton when you just said that you don't know how bad it's going to be, and that's why there's going to be a shortfall? Again, this woman is not making any sense, right? She's not making sense. But what Democrats don't get, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is that what people have witnessed over the past 3 to 4 years of the Biden administration is the federal government giving money to illegal immigrants, to foreign countries, and they do it quick, fast, in a hurry, right? It is very efficient, okay? There's not a lot of splaining, okay? They get the job done when they want to help out everybody else except the American people. But when it comes time to help out the American people, there's a whole lot of splaining. There's a whole lot of ass dragging. It's a very slow response, right? And they're making every excuse in the book for why they're not getting it done as fast as they would get it done if, for example, Zelensky or Netanyahu came to Congress with their hands out begging the taxpayers for money to fight their wars, right? See, again, that is what people have noticed. So when people have picked up on the game here that, hey, you know, it seems like these other entities, all these other people, these people in Congress and the Democrats, they know how to come together and get things done when it comes time to help them out. But when it comes to the American people, again, the response is lackluster. People are seeing that. So there are no excuses. You can't say that you can't get it done because we've seen you get it done for the people that you want to get it done for, right? And again, that's what these people don't understand. That's what they don't get.
We're going to need additional funding. We're going to need additional funding.
That's exactly what I just asked about. And you said it was misinformation. Yes.
What you're asking me is why Congress needs to come back and do their job. That's what you're asking me. Congress needs to come back and do their job and provide extra assistance, extra funding to disaster relief fund. That's what Congress needs to do, and we're going to continue to urge that. You may not want that, but that's okay. That's what this president wants, and that's what the vice president wants. Thanks, everybody.
Wow. Yeah, so again, this woman essentially walks out. She should never wear this suit again, right? Never wear this suit ever again, cringe Jean-Pierre, right? I'm not sure who told you that this was a good idea, okay, or that this was good fashion or whatever, but don't listen to that person, okay? But, hey, you know, I will say one thing about cringe here. I agree with her in the sense that Congress should come back, right, off their little vacation. I mean, they've been on vacation for months now. Right. And this is what they do during campaign season. Right before the election. They don't work. Right. They don't do anything. And they just run around kissing ass of people with money so that they can try to win the election. That's what they're doing right now. They're campaigning. They're not working. But this is an emergency situation. So, yes, all the politicians, Democrats and Republicans, need to be held accountable for coming back and having a special session in order to get more disaster relief to the victims of these hurricanes. Right. And that is something that I will say that it's not just the Democrats. A lot of it is the Democrats, but I'm just saying that this needs to be a bipartisan thing because we have no business giving hundreds of millions of dollars to Lebanon when the American people need that hundreds of millions of dollars right now, right? There's no way we should be distributing that money to a foreign country in a time like this, right? Absolutely no way whatsoever. When we're talking about having a budget shortfall for dealing with these disasters. Now's not the time to be playing politics, okay? But unfortunately, you know, this is the world that we live in where it is commonplace to play politics with people's lives. And you're seeing that with the Biden-Harris administration, okay? Because Kamala Harris came out, planted a story in the media that the media ran with about how Ron DeSantis apparently did not take her phone call when she tried to offer him assistance, right? Allegedly, she called him up to offer assistance before Hurricane Milton, and Ron DeSantis declined to take the phone call, right? This is what the liberal media said. This is what Kamala Harris has said. However, Ron DeSantis has came out and denied that. Take a look.
President, Governor DeSantis, NBC is reporting Governor DeSantis is ignoring your calls on hurricanes, resources, and help. How does that hurt the situation here?
You know, moments of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now, and playing political games with this moment in these crisis situations, these are the height of emergency situations, is just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish, and it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to put the people first.
Saying you're not aware of that, and if so, how are you not aware of that?
So Biden called me a couple days ago with Helene when I was on the helicopter. I didn't have any issues. They had helped us with what we've done. I'm not aware that he's tried to call since then. Certainly hasn't called my phone, so I don't know quite where they're getting that information. At the same time, we got the approvals that we need. If there's something else that we need, I'll hop on the phone very quickly, whether that's the FEMA administrator or the president, and we will press the case to be able to get approvals for what we need in Florida. But we have gotten approvals for everything that we've asked for.
Code in this area?
I didn't know that she had called, so I'm not sure who they called. They didn't call me, and their characterization of it was something that they did. It wasn't anything that anybody in my office did in terms of saying that it was political.
Given the severity of the storm, since I did want to ask you about politics right now in terms of should
I don't really want to answer questions about this. Is not a time for politics. No, excuse me, Gary. You and your publication will twist anything that's done to try to make a political agenda. That's what you do. That's how you get your clicks. I understand that. I understand that's the business model. Well, but I don't want to talk about politics because, but I have a feeling that however you do, you guys will find a way to frame it. That's just your shtick. I get it. It's fine. But I don't want to participate in it. We have had to respond to a Category 4 hurricane. We've had to prepare and now respond to something that may hit as a major hurricane, may be Category 4, may even be bigger than that. We hope that it does. But that should be the focus. And I think some of these questions are trying to create some type of political angle where there's just none there. What we've asked for has been approved. You're not seeing me out there carping or complaining about anything. We have gotten what we need from the feds. We have been working constructively with all the local communities. We have marshaled an incredible amount of resources in the state of Florida to be able to get the job done. And that's just what we're going to continue to do. That's what we've always done when it comes to these types of situations.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? A whole lot of politics is happening here, okay? And I think the American people are tired of it, right? The American people are tired of politics being played with the border, okay? They're tired of politics being played with the economy. They're tired of politics being played when it comes to natural disaster relief. I think the American people are just sick and tired of the politics being played in this country when it comes to the lives of the American people, okay? Because people on the ground are saying that, hey, we're not receiving the help that we need in Western North Carolina. And if you speak out about it, they're basically telling you to shut up, that you're spewing misinformation and completely and totally discounting what those people are going through and their experience. Okay. And they're doing this in order to save face for the Democrats, right? They're telling people who are living through hell to shut up because it is hurting the Democrats and their chances of winning the 2024 election. And that's extremely screwed up. That is the type of politics that are being played here that the American people are sick of. They're just sick and tired of it. Okay. I think what people want are for the politicians to put aside politics for once and just do your damn jobs. Do your damn jobs to help out the American people and stop putting everybody else first except us. That's what we want, right? That's what we want more so than anything. But, hey, again, unfortunately, this is happening right before election season. So this is what happens, right? This is the type of stuff that we see. And again, it really is unfortunate. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.